Women in Love is masterpiece of D.H. Lawrence. It is often introduced as epic of vice, and when it is called an epic of vice, it means it explores vices of industry, vices of modern age, disgust of death, or disgusting impact of death on human psyche, conflict of nature and culture. Dominantly, this novel is about death, and it's about different shades of human behavior, where inconsistency is one of the feature. Title of this novel, Women in Love, refers to two Brangwen sisters who are Ursula and Gudrun. Ursula is a school teacher and Gudrun is an artist and an art teacher. She has spent life in city, London, and after getting the degree in art, she returns to her town. Ursula falls in love with Rupert Barkin, and Gudrun, she is not clear about her love, though she is sported by Gerald Critch and she is fascinated by certain traits of Critch. And later on, we see her desire to spend time with Lorque, the German painter. In novel, we can say on one side, Brangwen family, on the other side, Critch family are two dominant families. Here, Thomas Critch is father or head of the family and owner of coal mine. He represents the first generation of industrialization in England. His son, Gerald Critch, is second important male character, a partner of Rupert Barkin, a partner of Lorque, and the most important member of his family. He represents the second generation of industrialization, obsessed with the idea of mastery and control through machines and replacement of human being with the machines. Critch sisters, Diana, Winifred, Laura, Lottie, these are Gerald Critch sisters. In opening of the novel, we see Laura Critch marriage, afterwards Diana's death, and then Winifred's, you can say, tuition in a way by Gudrun Brangwen. This novel has 31 chapters, and we can see that each chapters narrates an account located in particular area, because the novel mostly presents Midlands, First chapter is sisters. Its title is Sisters, and sisters are Brangwen sisters, Ursula and Gudrun. Gudrun actually has recently written, and that's their one leisure afternoon when Ursula is busy in stitching and embroidery, and Gudrun is drawing upon a board, and in a leisurely manner, both the sisters start chatting or chit chat. Their chit chat moves towards a topic that is of marriage. And they talk about experience of having been married. No, both of them are not experienced because both are unmarried. Even at that moment of this novel, they have no relationship. So when Gudrun asks a question about experience having been married, she asks basically, do you think one needs the experience of having been married? तुम्हारे ख्याल में क्या किसी के लिए शादी का एक्सपीरियंस होना जरूरी है क्या? Ursula responds in a tricky way, do you think it need be an experience? यानी उर्सला के ख्याल में marriage is not an experience. From this point, their discussion actually move towards abstract and concrete aspects of a relationship. And here we have an initial idea of marriage described by Ursula. Ursula actually is against conventional marriage, and she prefers a marriage of the souls. Means she believes that marriage should be liberated from, you can say, social marriage, and it should be marriage at personal level or peer level, where that should be an exchange of souls. And she thinks that in conventional marriage, everything withers. Mean the very essence of marriage destroys through the institution of marriage. Ursula is more unconventional in her thinking than her sisters, Gudrun, but Gudrun is also not the conventional girl. She has also artistic and romantic version of marriage. When they are talking about their marriage at their home, they live sorry they quit their stitching and embroidery, drawing, and they come out of their home. But their discussion about marriage continues. No, they have a walk in their village or in their colony, and when they pass by a church, they take notice of a marriage. That is Critch sisters' marriage with the bridegroom Marshall. And as we know in Christian marriages are basically observed in church. So that's a marriage which is being sanctified through church. And I have just mentioned Ursula is against the marriage guaranteed or sanctified through church, and that has, you can say, overwhelming social expectations. That was just a coincidence. They come across that wedding procession, and these Brangwen sisters, they meet Critch family. One of the significant guests, Hermione Rhodes, you can say she is counterpart of Ursula Brangwen, and she is the dominant voice of the evil or vice about which the novel is. Means she is representation of culture and civilization. When the novel opens, she is engaged with Rupert Birkin, the school inspector. Rupert Birkin is a friend of Critch and a close friend of Hermione Rhodes. Though Rhodes and Birkin, they are 1 degree opposite to each other. Birkin is a naturalist, Rhodes is a culturist. From church, they move to Critch lodging or farm, where is a banquet that is offered on that particular eve. And here Critch family, I mean Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Critch, Critch sisters, they are introduced. Certain trait of Critch personalities are mentioned, and it is remarked that Critch actually killed his brother in his childhood. And the whole family feels it. That's, you can say, untold guilt of the family, because they have not yet decided whether it was intentional on the part of Critch or it was unintentional fire that caused the death of his brother. But Abel Cain's jealousy is referred through the narration of that episode. Abel Cain सब जानते हैं, पहला मर्डर इंसानों का, एडम के 2 बेटे हबील कबील. But most important event of that occasion was Hermione Rhodes' attempts to seduce Birkin in intellectual discussions and her desire that Birkin should endorse her views. Birkin is not a conformist. He mostly exposes the weakness of Rhodes' ideas. Birkin is mouthpiece of D.H. Lawrence, and he represents Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy of life, his philosophy of culture and civilization. So Rhodes seems a prudent lady, very much conscious of her manners, sophistication, and she represents the conscious voice of humanity, which is compared with subconscious or pre-conscious impulses of Birkin and Ursula. So if that was the first meeting of Brangwen sisters with Critch family, Rhodes and Birkin. After this meeting, no, they have many meetings. You can say first two chapters that I just mentioned, sisters and shortlands. First two chapters were about Brangman sisters discussion, and later on Critch wedding ceremony. In third chapter, which title is Classroom, Ursula Birkin, they have their first meeting, because in their first meeting at Critch wedding ceremony, Ursula noticed individuality of Birkin and she was attracted to him. But she also felt the dominance of Rhodes, who is his fiancée. No, Birkin visits Ursula's school, and Ursula is a science teacher, or you can say a teacher of botany actually, and she is teaching the parts of flowers. And we know there are stamen and ovary, male and female parts. And she had drawn a diagram on the board, and she has written, when Birkin actually enters and he adds color to that description, Birkin and Ursula, they have some exchange of ideas. Then Hermione Rhodes, she also reaches there. I mean, she reaches the school, and the debate which seeds were seen in wedding ceremony, no, it is seen at full length in this chapter. That chapter is very much important about Hermione Rhodes' ideas, which are Enlightenment ideals of 18th century. These are ideals of individualism, human rights, equality, liberty. But Birkin actually refutes these ideals. He thinks that these political ideals are sham. And he even negates the idea of human superiority. And that's very painful for a lady who wants to live with social admiration, that she knows well. She wants to show the people that she has profound understanding of human nature, human psychology, the world around, and above all, she can exhibit her civilizational pride. So she is always in novel seen in a desire. That desire is that Birkin should endorse her ideas. But Birkin can maximum he can do this, that he should not be dragged in discussion. यानी पहले वो दूर दूर से कहता है कि ना ही मुझे ना घसीड़ो इस किस्म की बहसों में, जब मुझे इस बहस में पढ़ना पड़ेगा तो फिर मैं तो वही जवाब दूंगा जो है. और whenever he enters the debate, he makes Hermione Rhodes furious. And she gets furious because she feels at heart that her stance is poor. But when she reads the books, When she reads the culture, when she has interaction with her social circle. For example, in novel, there is a character that is a professor of sociology. She feels that her ideas have worth, her ideas have social and intellectual acceptance. But when she has an encounter with Rupert Birkin, she feels exposed. Anyway, this hot debate of Rhodes and Rupert Birkin that turns into a furious reaction where Rhodes actually she throws a paperweight stone, though Birkin has a narrow escape and he is saved. Otherwise, ये सीधा जाके सर में लगता तो बर्किन का काम तमाम हो जाना था. And it also results that their engagement is over. In next chapters, which are Diver, we see that Brangwen sisters walking through the community, through the shortlands, where actually when they pass by the homes of laborers, one of the laborer, that is Matthew, who is taking a bath, when his muscles and sinews are seen by Gudrun, Gudrun is fascinated by that strength. So it shows that Gudrun is attracted to a special type of masculinity, that is physical masculinity, and probably that's the reason she is attracted to Gerald Critch as well. In next chapter, in the train, we find that Rupert Birkin and Gerald Critch, they meet at railway station and they are going to London. First time it is found that Birkin is a part of a bohemian circle. Bohemian वो लोग होते हैं जो मुआशरती कवायदो ज़वाबित पर यकीन नहीं रखते, सोशल इंस्टीट्यूशन के खिलाफ होते हैं, फ्री सेक्स को वो सपोर्ट करते हैं और शादी के बिल्कुल खिलाफ होते हैं, और मतलब कोई भी ऐसी चीज जो कि कल्चरली या पॉलिटिकली इंस्टीट्यूशंस के तहत आती है, वो उसके खिलाफ है. हम कह सकते हैं कि बोहेमियन आर कल्चरल वर्जन ऑफ एनार्किस्ट. तो एनार्किस्ट तो पॉलिटिकल सोशल डोमेन में होते हैं, वैसे तो उस किसी भी डोमेन में हो सकते हैं, और उसका जो सोशल वर्जन है that is bohemianism. Birkin is also bohemian and he has been a part of bohemian circle. To meet his bohemian friends, he was going to city. Gerald Critch, he had some business in city and for that purpose he was going there. Both the men actually meet, and that's the first time in novel when they feel attracted towards each other, because this novel is also about homosexuality, or it's another version that is called homosocial attraction. They feel that for each other. Birkin feels attraction to the individuality, Critch feels attraction towards individuality and feminine traits of Birkin. And Birkin is attracted towards masculinity, the strong will of Gerald Critch. They travel together, they reach in London. In London, there is a cafe where actually they used to meet And Birkin meets his friends, and one of his friend, you can say a Bohemian, he has a girlfriend. She is also Bohemian, but no, she is pregnant. Issue is what to do with her. So in Pompadour Cafe, they she expects that Birkin should force his friend to marry her and take the responsibility. But the taking the responsibility is against the very idea of Bohemian life. Bohemian life तो होती इसलिए है कि irresponsible रहा जाए. तो अब अगर उसमें responsibility आनी है तो फिर Bohemian कैसा? And that's the point when Gerald Critch, she actually is very much anxious, upset, even she tries to stab her lover, her sexual partner. And when Critch returns their cafe to meet Birkin, actually he promised to do so. When Critch enters the scene, and Critch all the time in novel, he appears as a solution giver, a master of the situation. So he offers the solution of that problem as well. So responsibility that is eschewed by Bohemian man, that is owned by, you can say, an industrial man, Gerald Critch. So he spends time with that girl, and also he gives her money, and he, you can say, he support her. So in this way, some image of both the characters and attraction of both the character is mentioned. In coming novels, we see different examples of fetish living of Brangwen in Bradleby. Till that point, and also through the reaction of Hermione Rhodes, Ursula and Birkin, they are not so close. Though throughout the novel in their relationship, there is one step forward, two step back sort of expression, but they are not so close. And Birkin has also felt some attraction towards Critch as well. In one chapter, we see description of that mining industry, and also description of Gudrun's art and fascination of Critch with Gudrun's art. They meet, and after meeting of Critch and Gudrun, there is some sort of reviving the context of Brangwen sisters and Birkin Critch. No, we can say almost in the mid of the novel, that's the 14th chapter of this novel, that's called Water Party. Another very important event of this novel happens. That event is there is a tradition of annual get-together, annual party that is hosted by Critch family. So they host that annual party, and they invite Ursula Brangwen as well, like other, you can say, Hermione Rhodes and Birkin and their other friends. Family doctor of Critch family is also one of the guests. That's a night party, And in that party, we see a typical, you can say, D.H. Lawrence motif that both the Brangwen sisters, because that's a water party, I mean, there is rowing, boating, and also banquet, and that sort of fun is there. They, while dancing, they move to the remotest corner that is far away from rest of the guests. Here the sisters, they take off their clothes and then they have dance. So nudity as a natural human self is also seen here. And both the sisters, they were dancing nude when suddenly it is a hue and cry is heard. They also put on their clothes, they rush to the point, and it is seen that Critch's sister Diana is drowned into the water. And their doctor, who acting as an impulsive man, he also dives into the water without realizing that he is not a swimmer who can rescue her. So instead of one, two persons are lost. So the very celebration of party turns into a mourning. यानी जो सारा फन हल्ला गुल्ला होता है वो खत्म हो जाता है. Everyone is in shock and horror. Gerald Critch also dives and try to find them. Finally, the dead Diana and doctor, they are found, and when their dead bodies are found, Diana is carried in the arm of doctor. So we can say that a type of embrace where they are seen. Critch family experience a tragedy. Already in their past, there was a tragic death of Critch's brother, and usually one death revives the memory of the other. So same happens here, and it is especially significant with the character of Critch, who hates to see someone dying. And Birkin helps to come back to their home, these Brangwen sisters. Ursula, Birkin's relationship revives through this party. She also feels attraction towards him, but there is also and there are some meetings of Birkin and Ursula as well. And Critch is in search of something that can be helpful to change the mood of the family. I have actually missed in previous events, there was an event which I feel I should mention. One day, Brangwen sisters, when they were crossing a railway crossing, they saw Gerald Critch. And Gerald Critch, he was riding a pony, or you can say a horse, that was afraid of the horns of train. and that was not ready to cross that railway crossing or track while it hears the horn of train. Gerald Critch very cruelly beats that horse and compels it. And finally, she does what her master Scritch commanded. Gudrun and Ursula, they were seeing the scene at a distance, and that's some time when Gudrun feels disgust and shame for his liking for Gerald Critch, who is so cruel at heart, because Gudrun is very soft, artistic soul, so she hates that scene. But that scene actually shows Gerald Critch ambition to train the animals, train the humans, that they should not be afraid of machines. They should be masters of modern machines, whether it's a train or whether any gadget or machine used in his industry. Then